about the noise, where legends rise. From the clouds to the crowd, this is Crowd, where Africa meets opportunity, where music meets magic.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Crowd Industry Academy Virtual Seminar Series. My name is Adebayo Adegbite. I'm from the team at Crowd, and today again I'll be having a conversation with a music industry professional who has distinguished himself somewhat in their trade. He's a producer. His name is It Sound, and he's going to be sharing his experience on the African music industry and what it takes, or how his own journey has been. And hopefully we'll also be able to share one or two lessons with African music industry professionals and on how they can become global talents. Mr. Itsound, you're very welcome to the show today.
Thank you very much. It's amazing being here.
Yeah, and it's nice to have you around too. So as a producer, when we say a new African sound, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, so for anything that concerns new, like we already know, new stands for something that they've never seen, maybe an experience that is probably coming for the first time. So new African sound to me simply means it's like a blend of something that we already have. Let's say traditional rhythms and all the sounds that we already have from the past with something modern. Because if we trace back to the original origin of African sound, we'll figure out that it's like a mixture of different stuff. And as at that time, they felt like that was the new African sound. So right now, getting a new African sound is like a continuation of what the greats have already started. You see, like Fela, for instance, he already like knew that there was a sound like jazz, and then mixing it with all these traditional percussions like conga, shaker, shekere, and all that stuff made it sound like juju music also. So yes, the African sound, the new one, is something that the pioneers have already created, but then the new age artists are trying to like fuse different things like the Rema and Indian blend to create a fusion where we have Afro-Arabian, then we have Afro-Piano, which is like Amapiano and Afro beats. So yeah, African sound is like a blend of different cultures, traditions, modern feel of what the urban kids call Gen Z music. So yeah, that's what I think the African sound is, the new one.
Very, very great insight on what the African sound is. That will lead me to the next question I wanted to ask you. What do you think are the crucial elements of African culture in this new African sound?
Yeah, so I think like what makes African sound unique is the groove. African sound is built on groove and rhythm. When I was learning production, the first thing they taught me was understanding what bounce and groove is. So if you listen to trap definitely has its own bounce separate. Afrobeat has its own bounce separate. If you fuse instruments like percussive instruments, especially like let's say the shaker, African shaker, there's this one that makes this. That's uniqueness of Afrobeat already. Then you now have things like rim shots. If you play the drums, you will know that African sounds have their own rim shots from instruments like the conga. Conga is a really, really, really great African instrument that people have not really tapped into yet, but it's something that we've been using here for a very long time. They also have talking drum. We have things like the African flutes. We have other secret instruments like the calabash. Those ones they make with putting calabash upside down inside the pot and playing it with slippers. You see that commonly in the north. Then if you go to places like in the west, you can see they have shekere, they have other things that are like cowbell. You know this one they use for town crier, the gong 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 gong. So yeah, African sound is, look, there's no limit to what African sound has that people have not really touched. But what's left for us now is actually transcending beyond just using it for ourselves and showing the world what happens and how we use all these instruments. Just think about places like South Africa, think about places like Kenya, think about places, even in Nigeria here, we have 36 states, and each state has like zones with different cultures, different taste and feel. And like those are things that I feel the culture now is trying to push forward as a narrative towards the globalization of African sounds.
Okay, so again, thank you very much for that bit of insight. So now coming back to now the role of technology. So what is the role of technology? Not just maybe instrumentation technology itself, but perhaps technology that allows us to sort of get music from other sources to listen to us.
So technology have really done massive work in letting us get like a more synthesized feel of African sound, in the sense that Softwares like FL Studio, like Logic Pro, Cubase, Ableton, they have inbuilt VST technology that allows you to take samples from recorded, like pre-recorded samples. Let's say you have a song that is Fuji in nature. You know, Fuji has lots of elements that concerns traditional music. For instance, we have the talking drum, we have things like the shakers, like I called, we have the clav. There's this instrument called clav. I wish I have it here. I would have shown you. We have some other instruments that are like foreign. Let's say the Rhodes. We have the synthesizers. So merging all that stuff can be done in real time, except there is a DAW, which we call digital audio workstation. So imagine there is no recording software that allows you to record something in real time and you mix it with synthesized drums and patterns. That would be totally impossible. Even the songs we heard, like the Osadebes, the old songs, they used guitars. And guitars are technologically advanced tools for creating music. We do have local guitars, but those ones are not efficient enough. So you can say the African sound transcended from just being locally influenced to like technologically influenced over time. Because you see now, connecting a microphone into a talking drum when performing live also is like technological advancement being fused into the African music. Then we do have plugins that allow us do things like we do have log drum VSTs. We have like so many different stuff that we producers use personally. I can call some. If we start calling them again, it's going to take a lot of time. But you see, in like Nexus patches, in like Contact 8, Contact 7, you do have African samples that people created, which generated a lot of money for sample creators in like from like 2019 till now. It's like $1 million industry where we have places like Splice, we have Looperman, we do have places like Cymatics, all using this technology to create Afrobeat sounds by recording some of the instruments in real time and helping us use it inside of DAWs, which are like digital audio workstations like FL Studio, Logic, Cubase, and all that stuff. And you can also say that technology have like made African music and everything fusible in the sense that we do now have opportunity to sell stuff on the marketplace because we export. Nigeria is the biggest country with the export of Afrobeat music. So we also do export samples. There are producers that live off selling Afrobeat samples, which is a very cool stuff. Without technology, we can't do e-commerce. We can't build our websites and all that stuff. So I'd say like it's been a great fix having technology all in the picture.
Very, very great explanation on how technology has been instrumental to the development of the new African sound. Yeah. Can African producers do differently so that they don't just look like, well, I mean, just a mimic of other sounds?
Okay, so before I answer that, I would like to say something that I read from a book called Still Like an Artist. They said great artists steal. You understand? So you can't really say as somebody that is just coming up, or maybe like somebody that is already big, I would say that already being an African makes you unique, like naturally. You don't even need any extra to make it sound different. But if you want to really sound unique in a way that you are trying to portray your own style, I mean, there's lots of, like I told you, we do have only in the northern and like eastern part of Nigeria, we do have over 1,000 instruments that people have never heard before. Take, for instance, Ogene music. Mastercraft revolutionized Ogene music with flavor, which it was a traditional sound in the West, in the East, but hearing it on a global scale made it sound unique. So I would say the only way to stand out is actually look back to your roots, where you're coming from, and take from the already existing concepts, then add it with something that we already know.
Again, thank you very much. Again, a very great explanation. What challenges do you think perhaps upcoming, or let me say artists who have not reached the level of those we talked about, what challenges do they face in terms of getting their skill, using their talent, and getting on the global stage to work with the same global artists that these big producers have worked with?
I'd say finances is a very like financial issue is one of the most paramount problem artists and creatives face in this part of the world and in the world at large, because there's like the whole tariff war going on in the US, there's the whole China, blah blah blah, all that stuff. It really adds to the situation of entertainment, because the world is a global village where we are being connected by a network and web of like different talents, skills, cultural diversity, and geographical locations. I'd say that apart from money, we'd also have a problem of location. You see, some people are really talented, but they are in the wrong place. They can't explore and like experiment things because they are limited to resources that are like within there, you know. So imagine somebody is like in a zone where they don't have cameras. How do they make content? Or in a zone where they don't have iPhones, they don't have Samsungs, they don't have like basic stuff. It will be a struggle to create content and be consistent. Then another issue I think is like something that is universal is that we do have a problem of getting information. You see, like this thing we're doing now is very important to the community. The community learns from what we are saying, the insights. There's the power of the internet. You said technology. How you asked me a question earlier about technology affecting the Afrobeats market and stuff. Now, this is an example. You see, technology is helping us learn. There are platforms like this might be aired on Instagram, on YouTube, and other platforms. And I'm like, okay, this is like an avenue for people to learn, which means access to information have been a problem. Then the fourth issue I think is causing lots of like holdbacks for creatives is that some of them have self-esteem problem. You know, they don't believe they can do it. You see, African sound is very, very vast. It's unique. There are so many things you can tap from, but some of them have underrated the value of what they have to the extent that they feel African sound is something that is going to be a limitation to them, which is not true. People are coming from all over the world to tap into our sound. We have all the power, the jurisdiction to do whatever we like. So if there's a self-esteem problem, that could be cured easily by having this kind of conversation. Then I think the fifth one is family background and support. Some of us are like talented, but starting out like in a family where music was seen as some kind of a barrier, it was tough. So I'd say like the fifth and most important factor is like family background, whereby maybe your dad wants you to be a lawyer, you don't want to be a lawyer, you want to be a musician or you want to be a producer. It's going to cause a lot of problem until sometimes you start making little money, which I say the first problem is financial issues. Once you can carve out a niche for yourself and make some cash, they are good to go.
Again, thank you very much. How important do you think industry communities or maybe brands that have the global reputation, how important do you think those are to African music industry professionals, especially producers?
Before I answer that question, I'd really say I really recommend like Crowd for you for creatives because it's a very genius initiative. You know, we don't see things like this commonly everywhere. And I say you guys are doing a great job. So for the industry right now, as we know, gatekeeping have been reduced because of platforms like TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff. And I say that for communities in the industry to flourish, we actually need people that are willing to learn. And like I said, the third problem that a lot of people face is knowledge, which now with the power of the internet, we already have like this knowledge flowing between we that are enlightened in some parts and then those that are trying to learn. So I'd say that communities are really amazing. Like I myself, I've joined a couple communities on WhatsApp channel and Telegram, and they are like really amazing. And I would say the recommended places that every creative should be looking forward is a place where they can call home. You know, some of the artists or like the producers watching this, they are independent. So I'd say that once you find somewhere that they are willing to give you some kind of value, because this is value exchange, do not underestimate what you can learn and what you can get from there. You can use that to kickstart your career. So I'd say like the communities have really, really helped. You see, in 2018, there was a group chat for producers I joined, and most of the sample packs that changed my life, all the loops and stuff were shared in that group. Some producers were in their rooms making beats just like me, and all of a sudden now, most of them have won Grammys. Some of us like that have gotten mad engagements and like we've gotten big followers on Instagram and TikTok, all thanks to the community.
Okay. Again, thank you very much. Now, back to the question around technology. AI cannot do a Davido like the real one. And no whiskey, AI cannot do a whiskey or a Burna Boy like the real whiskey or Burna Boy. But for someone like a producer or a brand designer, or maybe a professional who is not whiskey or who doesn't have the clout yet. So what do you think the role that AI is playing for producers in recent times? Should we be afraid? I think I should just summarize that question. Or should you be afraid? Because I'm not a producer, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. So when it comes to AI, there are like two things that are very, 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 very key. We have productivity and we have precision. Now, in terms of productivity, AI makes it 100% efficient and easy for you to inculcate your work. Then for precision, there are things you can never achieve on your own. You can't beat a computing power that has 100 gigazillion bytes of things running at a split second, because the human brain has like a lot of neurons that are triggered by our activities, by our memories, by things that we already knew from the past. But AI is built off the knowledge of over a billion people. Like if you see using platforms like ChatGPT, you would know that ChatGPT could answer and can do things 100 times more efficient than a place like Google, which made Google build their own engine. So you can see companies, the main major tech companies, fighting for AI power. Why? Because of productivity and precision. So for somebody like me, I say I make a lot of money from using AI. So I'm not scared of using AI. The worst thing that can happen to you now is not adapting to AI culture, because AI on its own is a way of life, Artificial intelligence. Do not avoid AI. Instead, embrace AI and make your work easy. There are graphic designers that submit work 10 times faster, So for precision, I'd say that AI is really good at that. Then for productivity, is really good, but it cannot replace human touch.
Again, thank you very much for that. It's a very great insight. And well, before we go finally, we're almost at the end now. So I just have one final question. As you said, things are going to be different in the next 5 to 10 years at the very least. So what do you think African producers, whether established or whether trying to come up in the community, what do you think they should be focusing on, or how do you think they should be positioning themselves for the African sound of the next 5 to 10 years?
Okay, that's a very nice question. So if you're a producer and you've made it to 2025, you're come to the golden age of making money online. So I'd say like position yourself in a place where you become an e-commerce enlightened person, where like for me, I sell beats online, I sell Afro beats online. So using the African sound, you could easily sell music online by signing up to platforms like BeatStars. You can sign up to platforms like Soundy. Those are like the two major places for selling beats. Even United Masters also allow selling of beats. You can also sell sample packs on e-commerce websites. Maybe the ones you build, the ones AI helps you build, or the ones that you pay somebody to build. Just build something and help with the export of the sound you already have. The uniqueness that you have, you can easily translate it in a way that people can benefit from a transactional relationship where you put a price tag to some of the things like services, like the samples, the beats, and also try to be a creative content creator, whereby we're going towards an attention economy that nobody has long attention span to be waiting for you to do something long or complex. So you need to be somebody that is very active online, especially in places like TikTok, Reels, and YouTube Shorts. Those are like the places that are having a big surge. So my personal advice is, like I said, be an e-commerce person, sell stuffs online, render services online, also find a way to be a resourceful content creator to bring traffic to yourself. That way you are going to be unstoppable. You see, like this thing we're having is a virtual meeting. Everything is possible using AI and using the internet. The internet was the biggest boom of the century. Companies like Tesla, companies like SpaceX, Blue Gates, Amazon, they are tapping off the internet. So what makes you think you can't be the next innovator? Just try to embrace what's coming and also try to focus your knowledge panel to a place like Crowd, because they are here to stay and they're here to help out with some of this stuff. I'm really honored and excited to have this conversation where I can enlighten you guys. So subsequently, I know there are going to be a lot of seminars, and hopefully I get brought back on to give you guys more updates about that. But for now, sell stuff online and become a resourceful person by rendering services.
Thank you very much. It's been a very wonderful time with Itsound. He has actually been giving plenty of insights as to being a producer in the new Nigerian music market. The goal is to continue to enlighten people. It has been a very, very great and wonderful conversation with Itsound. My name is Adebayo Adegbite. I'm from the team at Crowd. Crowd is a platform that you can profile yourself on, can give you a shareable profile that allows you to be noticed, where you can attach stuff to your name and you can have a veritable platform where you can be seen. www.crowd.com. log in, profile yourself, start your profile journey. There's plenty of opportunities on the Crowd page that you can access. Again, this has been another edition of the Crowd Virtual Industry Seminar Series. And we've had more editions on our YouTube channel, so you can just watch any more of the videos with our professionals who keep dishing out fantastic advice for you. And once again, don't forget to follow us at Crowd Africa on Instagram, on Facebook, on X, and on LinkedIn. Once again, it's me, Adebayo Adegbite, saying thank you very much for listening or for being patient with us through another session of the Crowd Virtual Industry Seminar Series. Thank you very much. See you on the next edition.